It was the end of another peaceful day on Slumber Time Farm. The sun had dipped behind the rolling hills, leaving behind soft shades of lavender and gold that melted into a darkening sky. One by one, the stars began to twinkle like tiny lanterns, and the moon rose slowly, casting a silver glow across the quiet fields. Farmer Clara moved gently through the farmyard, her boots making soft thuds on the earth. With a calm smile, she checked on each of the animals, whispering good night in her kind voice. "Sleep well, sweet pigs," she said as the piglets snuggled into warm hay. "Rest now, little lambs," she murmured as she pulled the barn door shut with care. Then came the last stop, her treasured barn full of hard-working tractors. She stepped inside where the air was cool and still. Each machine sat in its special place, quiet and content after a day's work. "Good night, Rollo. Good night, June. Good night, Big Blue," she whispered, patting each gently. As Farmer Clara closed the barn doors, the moonlight streamed through a small skylight above, casting a peaceful shimmer over the barn floor. Everything was ready for a night of dreams. Just beyond the edge of the barn, beneath a little mound of clover and moss, a small velvety nose wiggled through the burrow entrance. It was Tilly the bunny. Her long ears perked up as she listened to the quiet of the farm. The night was soft and still. A breeze whispered gently through the grass, and the moonlight painted everything in a silver glow. Tilly blinked her sleepy eyes and peeked out from her cozy nest. She had already brushed her fur and nibbled a tiny bedtime snack. But something tonight felt just a little different. She could see the soft light glowing from the barn's high window. It sparkled like a star fallen gently from the sky. Tilly tilted her head and wondered, were the tractors dreaming in there? Did they snore? Or maybe, just maybe, they stayed up late and talked under the moon. Tilly twitched her little nose again and yawned. She knew she should probably curl up and fall asleep like she always did. But her paws were already stepping softly through the clover toward the barn. Just for a peek, she thought. And off she hopped, her heart full of wonder. Inside the big wooden barn, everything was still. For a moment, the moonlight slipped through the round skylight overhead, landing like a spotlight on the center of the floor. Soft beams shimmered across the curved walls, brushing gently against the tractors resting in their cozy spots. And click. One headlight flickered on. It was Rollo, the small yellow tractor, stretching his tires with a slow roll forward. He blinked his bright round eyes and whispered, "Evening, everyone." A quiet yawn followed as June, the sturdy green tractor, hummed to life with a low, gentle purr. "Time for our nightly chat," she asked softly. From the far corner, Big Blue let out a slow chuckle. "I thought you'd never wake up," he rumbled, his heavy wheels creaking as he shifted into the moonlight. The tractors, still drowsy from their day of work, rolled slowly into a circle under the glow above. Their engines barely hummed, just enough to keep warm. It was their favorite part of the day, when Farmer Clara had gone home and the barn belonged to them. The night was calm, the barn was safe, and the tractors were ready to share their sleepy stories beneath the stars. The tractors gathered in the middle of the barn, where the moonlight pooled like a silvery blanket. One by one, their lights dimmed to a gentle glow, as they nestled into place and settled down for their nightly chat. Rollo the yellow tractor wiggled his wheels and spoke first. "Today, I helped Farmer Clara carry hay bales to the cowshed. The little calves peeked out from behind their mothers and mooed at me," he said proudly. "One even licked my tire." June the green tractor smiled. "That's lovely, Rollo. I was out in the fields today with the plow. We made deep furrows for the barley seeds. The soil was soft and cool. It smelled just like spring." Big Blue let out a slow sigh, his voice deep and slow. "Farmer Clara took me to the hilltop this morning. We watched the sunrise in quiet, just the two of us and the birds. It was peaceful and perfect." The others nodded, feeling warm inside. Sharing stories helped their engines cool and their minds slow. Outside, the breeze rustled gently through the leaves. And just as Big Blue began his next story, a tiny shadow paused by the barn door watching. The barn door creaked just the tiniest bit as the gentle night breeze brushed it open. June's headlights dimmed and she whispered, "Did anyone else hear that?" From the shadows at the entrance, 2 floppy ears peeked through, followed by a twitching nose and soft white paws. "It's just me," came a quiet voice. The tractors turned slowly toward the sound, and there, bathed in moonlight, stood Tilly the bunny. She took a shy hop forward, her fluffy tail bouncing behind her. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I just saw the light and, well, I wondered what tractors do at night." Rollo rolled forward and smiled with his headlights. "We tell stories and share our day, little one. Would you like to join us?" Tilly's eyes sparkled. "May I really?" "Of course," June chimed warmly. "Every creature on the farm has a story worth sharing." Tilly hopped into their circle, the moonlight soft on her fur. She nestled into a cozy patch of hay and looked up at the big machines around her, feeling safe and welcome. For the first time, she wasn't just watching the barn from afar. She was part of it. And the stories continued under the stars. The barn was bathed in moonlight now, calm and glowing like a cradle beneath the stars. The gentle hum of resting engines and the soft rustle of hay filled the space with peace. Outside, a night breeze whispered through the trees, carrying with it the scent of freshly turned soil and distant honeysuckle. Tilly the bunny nestled into a little patch of hay between June the tractor and Rollo. Her ears twitched slightly from excitement, but her body was relaxed, her breathing softening as she felt the warmth of the barn surround her like a blanket. "So," Rollo said in a whispery voice, "who wants to go next?" Big Blue gave a soft chuckle. "Why don't we let our little visitor share something first?" Tilly's ears perked up. "Me?" "Of course," said June kindly. "You've joined us tonight for the very first time. Every bunny brings a little moon magic with them, I hear." Tilly blushed beneath her fur. She thought for a moment, paws tucked beneath her chin. "Well, today I visited the duck pond. It's my favorite place on the farm." The reeds swayed in the breeze, and the frogs played leapfrog on the lily pads. One of the baby ducklings tried to leap too, but it landed with a little plop right into the water. It looked up at me and gave the tiniest sneeze before swimming back to its brothers. The tractors giggled, well, as much as tractors could. "That's a lovely story," said Rollo. "Ducklings always make me smile." "I think I've seen that pond," said June. "It's beautiful in the spring when the water lilies bloom." Tilly nodded, eyes half closing as she imagined the lily pads gently bobbing in the moonlight. "Sometimes I sit by the edge and look at the reflection of the stars. I wonder if they look back at us." There was a pause, a quiet one, the kind that makes you feel more connected than words ever could. Then Rollo spoke. "Well, today I got to visit the orchard. Farmer Clara asked me to move a broken crate of apples. Some had spilled, and as I rolled past, the scent was so sweet, I nearly got dizzy. The bees were humming, the apples were shiny, and I even spotted a tiny mouse trying to push a whole apple uphill. I offered to help, of course." "You always have the kindest engine," June said, nudging Rollo gently with her wheel. Tilly giggled. "I wonder if the mouse thanked you." "Oh yes," said Rollo. "He gave me a sunflower seed and told me it was his treasure. I still have it on my dash." "That's so sweet," said Tilly. "I think sunflowers are the happiest flowers." June gave a soft rumble of agreement. They always turn toward the light. There was a moment of stillness, and then June added, "Today was a planting day. Farmer Clara hitched Reiki the plow to me, and together we sowed seeds across the lower field. The earth was soft and cool, and every time Reiki turned the soil, a family of worms would wiggle up to say hello. Clara scattered carrot seeds. So maybe soon you'll have some treats to nibble, Tilly." Tilly's eyes grew wide. "Carrots? Oh, that would be wonderful. My favorite snack of all." The barn glowed with the soft hum of contentment. From his corner, Big Blue let out a low, thoughtful sigh. "I didn't do any work today. Just a slow drive with Clara to the edge of the farm. We didn't talk much, just watched the clouds. I think Sometimes quiet is the best kind of company. Were they fluffy clouds? Tilly asked dreamily. Oh yes, Big Blue answered. One looked like a sleeping sheep. Another looked like a sailboat. And there was one that looked like... Well, I think it might have looked like a bunny. Tilly beamed, curling deeper into her nest of hay. And what about you, June? She asked. June thought for a moment, then said, I remember the sound of the wind today. It rushed over the wheat field like a lullaby, whistling through the blades. Sometimes I think the wind is singing to us. I like that, said Tilly. Sometimes when I close my eyes, the wind sounds like humming. My mama used to hum when I was a kid. They all sat for a moment in silence, listening to the real wind outside, swirling gently around the barn like a song with no words. Then the barn door creaked ever so slightly, and in came Bella the collie, her tail wagging gently. Am I too late? She asked softly. Never, said June. You're just in time. Bella padded over to the circle and sat beside Big Blue, her fur fluffed from the night air. I just finished my rounds, she said. All the animals are tucked in. Even the stubborn goats didn't try to escape tonight. Tell us about your favorite moment today, Rollo asked, leaning a little closer. Bella tilted her head. I think it was when the ducklings followed me to the pond. I wasn't going that way, but they thought I had food, so they waddled after me in a line. All 5 of them, following me like I was their mama. I didn't have the heart to correct them, so I led them gently to the water and watched them splash around. Tilly smiled. I saw them there. That's where my story happened. Well then, Bella said, wagging her tail softly. I suppose we shared a memory. The moon overhead glowed brighter for a moment, casting a silver curtain across the barn's wooden walls. It lit up the tractors, the bunny, and the collie like a scene from a dream. Everyone was quiet now. The kind of quiet that comes when hearts feel full and minds feel light. One by one, the tractors dimmed their lights. Bella rested her head on her paws. Tilly let out a soft, sleepy sigh and nestled closer to June's tire, the warmth of the barn and the rhythm of breath and humming machines surrounding her like a lullaby. Outside, the stars blinked slowly, and a distant owl cooed gently from the trees. Inside, in the heart of Slumber Time Farm, old friends and new ones shared the most magical thing of all, a moment of stillness, woven with stories, bathed in moonlight. Chapter 7, The Soft Night Ride. 600 words. The barn had grown even quieter now. The stories had all been shared, the yawns had become more frequent, and the moon above cast a calm, steady light through the barn's skylight, as if it were listening in on the sleepy conversation below. Tilly the bunny let out a long, contented sigh, her eyes half closed. She nestled closer to a little bundle of straw, but then blinked and sat up again. I've always wondered, she said softly, what it would feel like to ride on a tractor under the stars. The tractors turned their headlights slightly toward her, the glow warm and inviting. You've never had a ride? Rollo asked, surprised. Tilly shook her head gently. No, I always watch from the fields. I see the wheels turning, the soft hum, the wind brushing over the crops. It always looks magical. June looked at Big Blue, who gave a knowing nod. Then she lowered her voice and said, Would you like a short ride? Just once around the barnyard. Tilly's ears perked up instantly. Could I? Truly? Of course, June smiled, her engine humming like a lullaby. Climb aboard, little one. Very gently, June lowered the smallest step of her side panel, and with a light hop, Tilly climbed up, her fluffy tail twitching with excitement. She sat carefully on a soft pad of folded hay Farmer Clara had left behind earlier, just under the edge of June's curved dashboard. The green tractor rumbled quietly, easing out of the barn doors which creaked open with the slightest nudge. The night air outside was crisp and cool, filled with the sounds of rustling leaves, distant crickets, and the faint babble of the stream that ran along the edge of the pasture. The farm lay in slumber, wrapped in moonlight and dreams. June rolled slowly along the path, her wheels moving so gently they didn't even disturb the gravel beneath them. Tilly sat still, her eyes wide, taking it all in, The glow of the stars, the sleepy silhouettes of barns and fences, the shadows of grazing cows softly breathing in the fields. "Everything looks different at night," she whispered. "It does," June replied. "Quieter, softer, like the world is breathing slower." They passed the duck pond where the lily pads floated still, reflecting the stars like tiny mirrors. Fireflies danced above the surface, glowing like sparks from a gentle fire. "Do you ride at night often?" Tilly asked. "Only sometimes," June said. "When the moon is full and the breeze is kind." Tilly closed her eyes for a moment and leaned against the warm side panel of the tractor. The steady hum beneath her paws was soothing, like a heartbeat made of metal and kindness. They looped around the orchard, where the apple trees stood like sleepy giants, and then rolled gently back toward the barn. June came to a slow stop just outside the door. Tilly sat up, her whiskers twitching. "Thank you," she whispered. "That was the most magical thing I've ever done." June's headlights dimmed into a smile. "I'm glad." The barn doors opened just wide enough to let them in, and the other tractors turned their attention toward their returning friends. As Tilly hopped softly back down onto the hay-strewn floor, the entire barn seemed to hold its breath in a moment of quiet happiness. No one said a word, because sometimes in the gentlest moments, the silence says everything. Chapter 8: Night Watch by the Collie. Just as June settled back into her place and Tilly curled beside a bale of hay, the barn door creaked once more. A gentle tapping of paws echoed softly across the wooden floor. "Evening, everyone," came a warm, familiar voice. It was Bella, the farm's night watch collie. Her black and white fur shimmered in the moonlight as she trotted into the barn, her eyes kind and alert. "Everything's peaceful outside," she said with a nod. "The sheep are tucked in, the ducks are still, and even the roosters are finally quiet." The tractors smiled in their sleepy way, and Tilly lifted her head. "Did you have a good patrol?" she asked. Bella settled beside her, tail sweeping the floor gently. "I did. But my favorite part of the night is right here, with you all." She glanced around the barn, where every soul was winding down. The air was full of soft hums, warm sighs, and the quiet comfort of good company. "I think," Bella whispered, resting her chin on her paws, "it's just about time we all joined the dreamers." And with that, the barn fell into a deeper stillness, wrapped in moonlight and the promise of rest. Chapter 9: Back to the Burrow. Tilly let out a tiny yawn, her whiskers twitching with sleepiness. The warmth of the barn, the steady breathing of the tractors, and the quiet hush of the night made her eyelids grow heavy. "It's time for me to go," she whispered. June lowered her front panel once more to help her down gently. "We're glad you came tonight, little one." Rollo gave a soft beep. "You're part of the barn family now." Tilly smiled shyly and gave a small bunny bow to each of them. "Thank you for letting me share your stories." Bella stood and stretched. "I'll walk you back." The collie padded beside her as they stepped out under the starlit sky. The night was cool and still, wrapped in silver and silence. Crickets chirped softly, and the breeze gently stirred the leaves. When they reached her burrow, Bella nuzzled her gently. "Good night, Tilly." "Good night," Tilly whispered back. She climbed into her cozy nest of moss and straw, the scent of hay and moonlight still fresh in her fur. As she curled into a ball, she thought of tractors, laughter, and one magical ride under the stars. Her breathing slowed, and sleep came softly, like a gentle breeze across the fields. Chapter 10: Slumber Time for All. Back in the barn, all was still. June, Rollo, and Big Blue rested quietly in their spots, their engines cool and calm. A soft glow from the moon spilled through the round skylight above, washing the wooden beams in silver. The gentle creak of the rafters and the distant hoot of an owl were the only sounds left in the hush of the night. Bella had returned from her walk and now curled up near the barn door, her tail wrapped neatly around her nose. Even the mice were tucked into the hay bales, breathing in tiny, sleepy rhythms. Outside, the entire farm slumbered. The ducks floated motionless on the pond. The chickens dreamed in their nesting boxes. The cows sighed softly in the fields. And deep in her burrow, little Tilly the bunny slept soundly, her tiny nose twitching once, then still. Above it all, the moon watched gently from the sky, casting a silvery calm over Slumber Time Farm. It was a night full of dreams, a night full of peace. And as the stars sparkled overhead, every creature, great and small, drifted into the softest sleep of all. Good night, Slumber Time Farm. Good night.